so basically this is will be a panel that I've started called Black Sheep Rising, because the black sheep of the family are normally the ones that are the outcasts, but are the ones that help the global awakening. So we will have our discussions and we will talk about the things that are helping us to grow. So Thea is going to talk about her awakening process and how it helped her. So you have the floor.
Hello, my name is The Awakening. That is my IG page. You can find it on IG and on Facebook. I started my awakening almost in April of 2020. I'm sure a lot of people have been waking up and trying to figure out what's what. My awakening started because I have a family that's deeply rooted into religion and Christianity. Also, I had a girlfriend. We were, I thought, best friends, but we were very close for many years. And she was a minister.
Mm.
So it was just one day, just talking with her. She said, "You should stop watching videos and you should just read your Bible and da 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 da."
Stop watching videos
And
about
I
what?
thought to myself, "Oh, okay."
Stop watching videos
The
about what?
knowledge that the truth knowledge that stop
Oh,
watching videos stating that we are in a matrix,
oh, okay, okay.
listening to Dr. Ray Hagan, Bobby Hemmett, you know, the masters and sailors of the truth, the historical knowledge. Let me say that.
Mhm. Wow.
Sure enough, hearing that, it always made me feel some type of way because I heard a lot of people say they heard from the Lord, and I was like, well, why I ain't never heard from him? And I just could never figure that out.
You said, why
Why
I ain't
not?
never heard from him?
So as to come, so as to coming into this truth study, doing my research, listening to those videos, I just really started digging in to get the knowledge that everyone was speaking of, because it actually, Billy Carson says it even better.
What kind of videos did she tell you to stop watching?
I was watching videos from Dr. Ray Hagan, Bobby Hemmett, and the real, I think it's Merkabee or Merkabah. Anyway,
Oh, the real Merkaba.
that one,
Yeah.
that's him.
Mm-hmm.
Those videos just had my undivided attention. Very
Mm-hmm.
educational, number one, because it was things that I never heard, but it's things I may have always thought.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this and why is that? Just kept doing research. And then it all boils down to you have this whole community of people that are waking up to what's really been going on that nobody is talking about, because there's a lot of people that really don't know what's going on. So I gave myself the Awakening name because I'm waking up to the to whatever is going on. I was gonna say something.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't know until you get started.
Oh, in midst of that, I had a reading done in April of 2020. And the person I had the reading with has become my mentor, my teacher, my friend, one of my close friends. And if you need that reading, I'm gonna give you her name.
Okay.
Plug her in. If anybody need anything, astrology, numerology, your North Node, she can break it down for you, tell you
Oh,
what,
really?
yes, everything. But it's the Black Madonna, THE_Black_Madonna. And you should look her up. Anyone that may be interested in healing, because she can heal you through the things that she has learned on her own journey. So yeah, I'm so grateful for her.
Mm-hmm.
So after getting that reading, I just started plugging in to see what I needed to do. How did this all work? And learning to reflect on myself as to how I respond to certain things within this matrix, because that's what it is. After I discovered we are in a matrix. This is an illusion. It's a dream within another dream. We may say these things to people and it may sound sort of crazy, but in our reality, it's truth. And I'm all about truth, and truth is going to always align.
No matter
So,
how hard it is.
may not be something people want to hear. I understand that. I do not knock anything people believe, but at the same time, I I'm a person that analyzes stuff, so I look at the things we were taught, and that's where a lot comes in when people were saying how they heard the Lord speak to them, and I'm like, oh, I ain't never heard that. When I'm, I read my Bible, I'm doing my studies, I'm changing my life, and da 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 da. But at the same time, none of that is working. You hear people say they pray for this, they pray for that, and da da da, and nothing is working. So when you really look at your life and say, what has changed in my life in the last 5, 10 years, and your life is the same, then I'm scratching my head like something ain't right. So that's pretty much
Right.
where I really started digging in to get the clarification as to what is really going on. And a lot has been revealed to me that this is a matrix. I'll say that all day, all night. Nobody want to hear this,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But this is
Mm-hmm.
definitely a matrix, and it is an illusion. So I'm learning to work on myself. I've learned that we all are full of trauma, and it all starts there, but we wouldn't know that because we've been programmed. So we'll get deeper into that on this segment. But I just want to put out there, that's how I started my journey learning these things. And that's what's really going on. That this is not this world. I believe that they do have to do their research. We've been lied to all our lives. And like I said, the word taught should really ring bells with a lot of people. Who taught us? Let's start there. Who taught us everything we know? Who taught us anything? And why do we have people feet and people foot on our necks? So this is deeper than anybody could even imagine. But it does take you to have an open mind, an open heart, and you have to let go of some of that ego we all have, because we all got it. So
Tell it
this is
your
a
big
journey.
ego. Big ego.
So this is a journey where you're working on yourself. And that's where it starts, with self.
Mm-hmm.
You have to love yourself, make time for yourself. And just get I don't give a fuck attitude when it comes to whatever people think. All of that plays a part along this journey. So I am grateful for this journey. I would not have it any other way. What I used to believe, what I know, the knowing outweighs what I used to believe. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm. And that makes a lot of sense because when you are a true truth seeker and a true believer and then knower, it doesn't matter what you have to go through to stay in truth. You might lose a lot of friends, you might lose a lot of people, your whole life will change, but it sounds crazy, but it's worth it to know the truth because being on
It's
the other
so
side where
worth
I
it.
was like 2 years ago, I would never go back there.
Right, right,
What?
right.
No.
Yes,
Now, I
yes.
won't lie. When I first started the journey, some days I was like, man, I got to stop reading so much because I can't unlearn. And I'm the type, when I learn something, I have to apply it and then act on it. So I was feeling all these obligations of having to change because I don't know how to hear truth and then walk away and ignore it. So I
Right.
had to make a decision. So I want to keep on hearing truth because I think I'm gonna have to make a lot of changes, or do I want to kind of stay here? No, I can't stay here because I'm always wondering, do I want to go back? No, I cannot go back to religion and none of that. So what do I do? I just went to sleep like the babies do. I went to sleep. And then when I woke up, it was like whatever happens naturally. And I naturally started listening to videos, like naturally, like I just want to know more. I want to know more. And so I think you get led to it.
Everyone will be waking up that wants to wake up,
Yeah. And I
and
think
nobody's
even
going to wake up at the same time.
right. And I think even people who don't so-called want to wake up, they're gonna wake up anyway because they're gonna see what's gonna be happening and they don't have a choice. It's like, once you see it with your eyes, you can say everybody was crazy all day long, but then once you see it with your own two eyes, you got to make a decision. Did I just see that?
Right.
Do I believe that?
Yes. No, but you're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah,
is. It'll be revealed, and it'll be, you either believe it or you don't.
exactly. You're right. Yeah. So something you said kind of leads into what I was going to talk about, the circadian rhythm. When you talked about, who taught us how to be and who taught us how to, I guess, do everything we're doing. Not that we came here not knowing, but in this situation in the Matrix, this is the time where we went to sleep and we forgot. And then we were
Right.
under a different control and rule. And as a result, we all live our lives based on a system that we didn't create for right now. So the circadian rhythm is basically, I'm gonna go by my notes. But what it is, it's your daily activity cycle. It's based on 24 hours and it's regulated by our internal body clock. And the thing is, we all have our own internal clock. We all are in a 24-hour cycle here on this, in this time, but we all have our own internal clock. And our internal clock really leads us and tell us what to do, but most times we ignore it because we're based in somebody else's system that tells us when to wake up, when to go to sleep, when to go to work, when to have lunch, what time to have dinner. You know, people are like, you're not supposed to eat after 7:30. Is that what your body tells you? Or is that what somebody else tells you? And then when you see on TV, what time do they always have dinner? You know, so we're programmed in more ways than ever. So the key to understanding how to make it natural, a natural process, is to look at the animals and to look at the plants. Some plants are nocturnal, some are not. Some animals are nocturnal, some are not. And who told them to be? So like, so there are certain plants that flower during the day and they close at night. There's some plants that are closed during the day and they flower at night. So what makes them do that? You know, it has to do with their internal clock. They, of course, you know, in relation to everything in the skies and whatever, but the point is they're led to do that naturally and we accept it. We aren't like, that plant shouldn't be opening during the day and closed at night. That don't make no sense. And then try to change it. We don't do that. But we are plants as well. And so that means we have an internal clock that tells us what to do. The animals, when I was thinking about it, I thought about the wolf. And most times we think wolves are out at night. And one night I saw a wolf outside and it was nighttime. When I was doing some research, I found out that the Ethiopian wolf is not nocturnal. It sleeps during the night out in the open. Within the circadian rhythm, within the circadian rhythm, it's natural for plants and for animals to follow their internal body clock. We are the ones that do not do that because we're under a different rule and we let other people tell us when to do what really comes natural for us. So, oh yeah, I was talking about nocturnal and diurnal. And nocturnal, it relates to night. So some animals and some plants predominantly have that kind of life where they're open at night, they're up at night with their kids and their babies. You know, you can see it on those programs. They're up and doing all kinds of things that people normally do during the day. And then the ones that are diurnal, a lot of them, their activity is related to the daytime. And I was talking about the Ethiopian wolf because most times when you think about wolves, you think about wolves at night. But those wolves, they are up during the day, doing everything. And it's basically because the food that they eat, these certain mice or rats or whatever, they're out during the day. So that's when they're up, you know.
Really?
But the point is, who tells the wolf and who tells the flower when to bloom, when to change?
Right.
You know, it's their own internal clock on their, and then the fact that the circadian rhythm is like based on a 24-hour cycle, their rhythm is still within their 24-hour cycle. They don't just stay open all the time. Certain ones, they stay open for 12 hours and they close for 12. They're up for a certain amount of time, then they go to sleep. However, they fall in that 24 hours. So the whole point is when we feel off and we don't feel right, which is probably most of the time, it always seems like something is against the grain. I believe it's because we're not following our internal clock. And there's different rhythms. There's like at least 4 different biological rhythms. You got the circadian rhythm, diurnal rhythm, ultradian rhythm. There's like 4 different ones, you know, and the point is they all relate to our behavior and how we naturally are supposed to be. So the rhythms affect our sleep. The main thing that we need to grow in understanding and just as human beings in general, we need deep sleep. and everybody is supposed to go to sleep at night. I, for one, I cannot sleep at night. I'm a night owl by nature. When I was born, my mother said that I was up all the time at night. And then during the day, I slept good. And so to me, it's natural, but everything has told me in my life, you need to be asleep and you need to be up in the morning, you need to be asleep at night. And it's very hard for me to function like that. So when you don't sleep, then your productivity is affected, your brain function is affected, your hormones, when you feel drowsy, when you feel woke, all that's affected. So case in point, so it's little bitty things that I've always said. Like all my friends know I always say, "Ooh, when the stars come out at night, I'm woke. The trees come out at night, the trees come out, always, as soon as the stars come out." And then whenever I would go out of town and drive, I want to drive at night. So I would drive like 10 hours with my music on and be eating and getting it. And as soon as the sun would start coming up, I'd be like, "Oh, now I'm so tired." And it wouldn't be because I was tired of driving. It was just something about dusk and dawn, in the evening type, it just always affected me different, because when the sun comes out, it affects your hormones, right? Well, who says that it has to affect your hormones in the way that make you wake up? Some people, when the sun comes out, it's like, "Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I have no energy." And then some people like me, when the stars come out, it's like, "Oh, the stars, I have so much energy." So if the sun is powering so much in the sky, it's all coming from the same energy. And so we all are getting it in one way or another. And your melatonin is affected by that as well. And so you have to think, if people who are running everything are not melanated beings and they're telling you how to be, and then the people who are running everything is thinking about everybody as worker slaves and all they want you to do is just work, you have to think about what we're doing. We're working 9 to 5, and some people can't function 9 to 5. We're working Monday through Friday. Some people can't function. That's too much, and so it really takes some time for, I think we all just need to like revisit that. And if we're all from different star systems per se, then who's to say that where we're from is not a 36-hour circadian rhythm? They tell you about all the sci-fi movies about indigenous people from these planets who are on different circadian rhythms. So
question. So do you think that, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. You're supposed to.
So do you think that has a lot to do with tying into our spiritual awakening and as far as our sleep cycles?
Yes, I think so. Because some people function better spiritually during the day and some better at night. You know how they say, "Oh, the veil is the thinnest at this time. You need to do."
Right.
Well, some people just can't be up at that time, but some people can get up right after that and have the best spiritual experience ever. It's like whatever your body says. And then we all are on different time cycles across the United States.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So 3 to 5 for me is a little bit different than right here, and a little bit right here, a little bit right.
Yeah.
So I think the point is we have to really listen to our body. We have to listen to what it says. And I think we do listen, but then we turn right around and then we listen more to what's being told to us.
Right. I see.
And like when I am a night out and I'm up at 3 o'clock, sometimes I be like, "Oh, I'm so hungry." And if I'm talking to somebody in chat or whatever, they'll be like, "Why are you eating this late?" It's like, because to my body, it's not this late.
Right.
It's not like what you're thinking, like, "Oh, you can't eat after 7 o'clock because of whatever reason." We have different bodies. We have different makeup.
No, really.
We have different everything, so we can't really keep living in a society the way we have based on somebody else's program. It just doesn't work for us, it just doesn't. So I have a lot more info on that, so I'll probably add it in, a little bit more the next time. And another thing, how everybody talks about blue light and how it's useful and how it's not useful. This is really crazy. When I'm up, like during the day, and I'm looking at my phone and the blue light is on there, I
Mhm.
get sleepy. I get sleepy and fall asleep.
Listen, I've been on my phone way more this week than any other week, and I've noticed myself tired. I've been drained this week. I've just been, it's either I'm tired or I'm up late. Like today, like this whole week, I've been up. I'll go to sleep, take like maybe a 30-minute, an hour nap, and then I'm up until I wake up at like 2 and I'm up until 6. I'm just up, up, doing absolutely nothing, can't fall asleep, having a hard time falling asleep. And it's been like this all week long. And I'm just like, what is going on? I don't know if there's a shift going on. There's some type of energy portal. I don't know if it's because of the daylight savings or the fact that we're going through the spring equinox, but this week has been rough for me. So I can definitely.
It makes it more rough because we're taught to fight against it. It's like,
Right.
why am I up at 6? I'm supposed to be asleep at 6. Who said you're supposed to be asleep at 6?
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, really.
If your body said get up, then that's your body and your higher self saying get up. And it's so crazy how we're bombarded, with everything, the news, this time.
Right.
When you cut yourself off from society, kind of like how we have,
Right.
you can listen to your body more and do your own thing, and you start to understand what our melanin has to do with things. And just the fact that the blue light from the phone makes me sleepy and how it affects my melanin, that is so different than people who aren't affected in the same way. So the rules that they make about that, a lot of that doesn't apply to us.
Right.
It really
I can
doesn't.
see that. Right.
It doesn't. So I think we need to do more forums and have more talks about, how we fit with the earth and nature and how we should live and what we need to do that's opposite of what we've been taught to do. Like, for example, you're not supposed to look at the sun. Yes, you are. If you have like dark eyes and stuff, yes, you are.
Right.
All our whole life, we've been taught, don't do that.
Yeah.
And like I said before, we were a conquered people, and because the people that conquered us, they made the rules for them and their people, which is fine. We just happen to fall up under that, and all the things that's good for everybody else is just not good for us. So we have to like separate that out and find out what's good for us, and then teach everybody so that we all can still be here together, and we all can function. This group can look at the sun, this group can't, and it's all good.
Right.
Whatever.
Because we got our own gifts. Right. Right.
Yeah. So that's it about the circadian rhythm is, and just I just think about it all the time. And I believe it or not, I learned about it from Star Trek.
Really? Really?
I have always said I'm on a 36-hour circadian rhythm. I'm on a 26-hour circadian, and my son would be like, where you get that from? It was like Jean-Luc Picard said that about something. And then one time they was on some planet and they wasn't supposed to show them about warp technology or something. And he was like, the indigenous life forms of this. And I was like, ooh, I'm indigenous. And then they showed the people and they had like war paint on and stuff. And they had like little spears and sticks.
Right.
And I was like, all the Aboriginal indigenous life forms, even on the other planets, And so as a result, I've taken on so many characteristics that I've learned from Star Trek that it's like, wow, it's real. And that's why I was. So I am an indigenous life form on a 36-hour circadian rhythm. Boom.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. 36 hours.
So how do you think that it fits into meditation, our rhythm like that?
Well, with meditation, with the sleep pattern being the way it is, and everybody's on a different sleep pattern, as far as the meditation, I think that you're being woken, of course, to meditate at that time, or whatever time that you're just up to meditate. And a lot of times people don't understand that. They're just like, oh, like me, all week long, just up. But sometimes I take the time to meditate, and sometimes I'm just up, working or trying to, do something creative. I think a lot of times that meditation session is for us to get creative, because technically that's what we are supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be using our gifts. So as far as the meditation is concerned, I think that what happens is it connects you to you so that you can understand what gifts that you're supposed to be using at this time. So I always say meditation to me is completely different from prayer. You know, not to knock prayer because everybody needs it. Prayer to me is more so external thing, giving, where you're meditating is more receiving, internalizing that inner being that you're supposed to be connecting to, either yourself or your higher self or your spirit team. So for me, meditation is like the first step to connecting. You know, you're waking up, you're already going through this spiritual awakening, and you're like crazy and going in your mind like, I'm not used to this. This is not what I'm used to. Then on top of that, you're waking up at different times of the day, different hours, not getting sleep. To me, that's the perfect time if you're not sleeping to meditate. We've been taught to meditate completely wrong.
I was just gonna say, you know, I used to think meditation was like thinking before you went to sleep. So I always meditated to sleep.
Right. Completely wrong. When meditation, you know, a lot of us have been taught to clear your mind, relax. And the whole time you're trying to get to this meditation point, and you're lighting candles and trying to get the right music on and trying to get into the right mode. And by the time you even remotely start meditating, you have overthought the whole process. So how can you start a meditation and overthink the process, but you have to release all these thoughts in your mind? It's just no way. So we were completely taught wrong how to meditate. When you're meditating, it's about receiving the information, addressing those thoughts that come to your mind, you know, visualizing them, moving them right along, so that way you can give the information that you need and to do what you got to do. That's how I feel like meditation could be. A lot of times people use guided meditations, and that is, to me, a no-no. Guided meditations is more so you're pretty much putting your energy into somebody else's meditation.
And hearing their voice, and their voice is getting in your head and not your voice.
So imagine internalizing somebody else's voice in your meditation. Now, if you resonate with that person, that's completely fine. You know, if you resonate with that person, you feel like their energy is matching your energy and you can manifest off their energy, fine. Use your guided meditations. But guided meditation, it should be more so you meditating with your voice. So that way you can return the energy back to you internally. So that way you can start programming your subconscious to do what you need to do to manifest the reality that you want.
Exactly. Just like the circadian rhythm, we're living our rhythm based off of somebody else telling us when to go to work, when to sleep, when to meditate. It's like, what? We can't do that, because then our subconscious is still linked to somebody out there.
Exactly. And that's the problem, you know, with guided meditation. You're literally taking your energy and giving it to somebody else. And some people really just don't know that, you know, you're not supposed to use guided meditations per se. To each his own. I personally don't use guided meditation. I think it's a distraction for the simple fact you can't receive the information that you need to receive in meditation.
And I don't know where they're coming from. Like, I don't know what their intent is, or where they're coming from, or where they're rooted in. One time somebody wanted me to do a group meditation, and he was like, close your eyes. I was like, hell no.
Because you really don't know. You don't know. You don't know what that person's intentions are. When you're meditating, you don't even know what type of intentions they set before the meditation. They could tell you that they set this intention for this meditation to go this way, but it could be set for something completely different. So why would you use a guided meditation when it's not even your energy that you're giving it to? So if you're going to use it, use your own, make your own guided meditation, listen to your own voice. That's how you start subconsciously programming yourself to start manifesting, visualizing things as you do it, because you're just giving the energy back to you. You're receiving everything that your higher self is going to give you. And you know, us, I always say humans, because we're spiritual beings, humans have this thing where when they meditate, they think that they're supposed to get information right then and there. And if they're not getting it, they're frustrated. They think it's not going to work. It's just a waste of time. And we were trained to be like that. It has to be right there. It has to be on the go. It has to be, if you're not getting it right then, right now, it ain't working. And that's not how it works. It's more so.
I'm getting up.
Right. Like, you just waste of time. It's no patience whatsoever. We do not have patience whatsoever. And I think that's what it is. It's more so, it's slowing you down to give you the patience that you need to receive the information. Because if you're just wanting it right then and there, that's not always the case. Sometimes you could just be sitting there and get absolutely nothing.
And I mean, sometimes we sit there and we're not quiet long enough, because like I would sit and I would be quiet and then I'd be like, but you know what? And I would start thinking and talking. I'm like, wait a minute. So wait a minute. Is that it? Or am I supposed to? You know?
Exactly. And that's what happens. You think, you don't know if it's you. You don't know if it's just the things that's going on around you. But a lot of times we just don't get it right then and there. What happens is sometimes you get it in a dream. Sometimes you're getting it in numbers, movies, conversations. Like right now that we're having, it's just like a deja vu. Like, oh my God, I've seen this before. Yeah, that's the messages that you're getting. It's like a nudge. Like you just know that you're receiving this message. And I think with the meditation, a lot of times people just need to learn how to just be, be easy, relax a little bit. You're not meant to get it right then and there. And that you put more pressure on yourself. And then the meditation session that you had is just, you're losing focus of what the ultimate goal is. The ultimate goal is to learn yourself. Meditation is not, it's a tool, just like everything else. Because at the end of the day, you are a spiritual being having a human experience, not the other way around. Yes.
Tools.
Everything is tools.
We got by without these tools before we learned all this to get to here.
Exactly.
So the point is, how do we get even more tools?
Exactly. And that's pretty much what it is. I mean, it's just having patience with yourself, connecting with yourself. And then once you make that connection with your meditation, everybody tell you that you're supposed to meditate between 3 and 5. I am a faithful meditator at between 3 and 5. I feel like that's when it's the most quietest. That's when the earth is the most stillest. The frequency of the planet is completely different between those times. So it's easier for you to connect. Yeah, they'll tell you, oh, those are the devil hours, those are witches hours, and ain't nobody
out stay there. In the house. It's like, yeah, it is. Stay out
there. Nobody's out there, but at the end of the day, those are the hours that you need to really connect between 3 and 5. Some people were trained to be scared of the dark. So they won't get up between them 2 hours. And well, but I get up between 3 and 5.
I'm telling you, a lot of people say to me, how you be outside on the beach at 3 o'clock at night? It's like, because sometimes, I'm up, I might be here listening to music, doing whatever, and it's just like, I gotta go outside.
Right.
I haven't seen the stars or whatever, or I could be asleep, and it's like, I need to go outside. And I get up and I walk across to the beach, and it's like, it's totally black. There's nobody this way, nobody that way. And I'm out there by myself, walking, talking and listening and looking, and I could be out there for hours. Next thing you know, these are in my pathway.
Right.
So many different
receiving.
Things. Yeah. And when I come back in the house, I feel happy and I feel like, woo, okay, so what's now? Now let me start writing notes.
Right.
What I want to talk about, it makes a difference. And being out there in the dark like that, I'm like, I'm on the edge of the earth with all this ocean in front of me, little bitty person out here. All these stars and all this emptiness, I should be afraid. My one girlfriend was like, ooh, girl, you should run. Did you see that?
Right. And that's what happens.
Whatever can get me out there can get me in here. So,
it does. What happens where, we were trained to be scared of the dark. A lot of people, they maintain to get every light on in the house. But you got every light on in the house. Don't nobody want you. Ain't nobody in there. You better learn how to protect yourself if you're going to meditate. Don't nobody want you in your own house if you are confident in it's your house. Why are you scared? It don't make sense to me. If you're not comfortable, then you probably should take your time doing it. But, you know, meditation, like I said, at the end of the day, it's more so of connecting with yourself, and just being there with yourself. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It took me months, almost a whole year. I was just like, what am I doing? I'm watching these videos, I'm meditating, and I look crazy right now.
Same thing you said, Pete.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Watching these videos, right?
Listen, by the time you really connect and it hits, you be like, okay, I hear you. I hear you. I ain't that crazy. I'm there. So it just depends, you know. At the end of the day, I think it's just the first step that you really need to master to really connect to who you are, and actually use your gifts, because at the end of the day, we all came here to learn something. If it's just the beginning stage of, like Fee said, our spiritual awakening, or going through our sleep cycles and having a rough time sleeping and waking up, that is nothing but your spirit and your spirit team and your higher self waking you up, because they got, come on now, we got to tell you some stuff. We need to pass this information on, so that way you need to do what you got to do, because you ain't here down here to play games. You ain't down here to get this soul mission done, and it's sin. We ain't got time for that. So
get done and gone
and keep it moving.
Because I think that we all have been here and done this enough times to where we're
only here to do our soul mission and be out.
Yeah, but I forgot. It was something I was on the road. But what I was gonna say right quick, I was gonna say before it, cut off, but now we might have a little more time. So that Fee can be a part of, like, all three of us on here. You want to say a little bit about how meditation affected your awakening, or is going to contribute to your awakening even more?
Oh, I'm more than sure. And just listening to her talk about the meditation part, I'm approaching a year on my journey. And I do get up religiously between 3 and 5 to meditate. Sometimes it's at 2:30, but I get up to practice. So I have not made the connection with my higher self, but guess what? I ain't gonna stop. Look,
Right.
I ain't gonna stop.
Because it's going to happen. And when you meditate and you make you're going to know. I always say the best messages that you get during meditation is right between that woke and that sleep stage, that good part, that part right there.
Still in theta.
Right. That part, the beta part, is where you get that message.
You was freezing up. What you said between what?
What is it, that sleep cycle? Yep. Is when
keep talking. But I'm gonna show you something that I got between that state. But keep talking. Hold on.
That's the part where you get your messages.
I think for me, I feel it's more or less my breathing.
Okay.
But I mean, like, you breathe, because if you don't get within that rhythm, it's not gonna happen for you. So me being new on the journey, how am I gonna know if I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? I know there's no perfect way.
There isn't.
You have to find what works
for you.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the breathing thing, that comes in time. A lot of us, like I said, is that, to me, I think it's a little bit of an overthinking, but that could just be ego. A lot of times our ego is there to protect us, and the ego will step in and block you from meditating, because they're like, oh, wait a minute, you don't know what you're doing. This is our way of protecting you from what you think you're supposed to be doing. And that's not the case. It comes with the territory. You got to kind of, like, we learn to train our ego, because our ego, people say, oh, well, your ego's bad. It's not that your ego's bad. Your ego has been trained to protect you. So your ego is going to step in like, this ain't it. You ain't breathing right. You need to step back. Go back and lay down, because this ain't it. But it will happen. When you make that connection, you will know. You will know when it happens. Because, like she said, it goes through the theta stage. Right, that stage right there is when you start getting the messages. It's been plenty of times after I meditated, I had got absolutely nothing. I could sit there and meditate for maybe 5-10 minutes, because you don't need to be there for hours on end. Maybe 15 minutes, and it should just start coming in when you do connect. but a lot of times I get nothing. And then when I lay in the bed and I'm getting ready to drift off, I hear my name, Keisha. And I'm just like, what in the world? Who calling me? Y'all trying to tell me something? Wait, why you couldn't tell me when I was up on this floor trying to meditate and make this connection? You gonna wait right there until I get in the bed, and then you want to come talking to me? Listen, I'm about to go to bed. We can talk in the morning or the next time.
Because when you in the bed, you finally have calmed down a little bit.
Exactly.
And not like still up like, okay. But you finally are like getting to that state where it's like, okay, now she can reach. And then it's like, what?
Right. And you start getting all kind of stuff. And I think a lot of times people are waiting to hear the voice. Unless you're clairaudient, you're not going to hear voices. It's in your head. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but it's literally in your head. You're going to hear it. And when you do, it's not because they don't speak our language. Your higher self may be so because they've been here so many times, but they don't speak our language. So a lot of times when you hear it, they might just be giving you words like eggnog. What am I doing with eggnog? What am I supposed to do with eggnog? You don't know.
Wait, one time, this is crazy. This is crazy. I woke up and I was like, why do I smell maple syrup? I was looking around the room. I went and cleaned my nose out and I was like, why do I smell maple syrup? And I was like, I know this can't be some kind of message about the maple syrup. And then I was like, I'm kind of hungry. And I was like, ooh, I ain't had no pancakes in a long time. I got up and I went to Waffle House and I got some pancakes. And while they were making them, some girl came in. I don't know what the deal was. And she didn't have on a mask. And so this other girl was getting on her saying, you don't have on a mask, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I got a mask, but I had like 10 of them in my pocket. I was like, here you go, put it on. So she put it on. And then I gave the other lady a mean mug, like, leave her alone, let me bothering folks. And I was like, because, whatever I had to say, turn back around and get my food. So the mean lady, she left. So then the other girl, she left too. And then she came back in and she said, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for standing up for me because it made such a big deal. My boyfriend had been doing this and it was a rough time and I didn't even want to live, blah, blah, blah. And here I want to give you some money because I just appreciate it. Please take it and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, like I just came to get some pancakes out the bed. No. And she was just like, and gave me a hug and all of that. And I got back to the house like, what just happened? Because of some maple syrup. Some girl hugged me and said I helped her because her boyfriend was mean and nobody stands up for her. And then she gave me some money.
Yeah.
That's how it is. That's spirit's way of making sure that you're straight. At that moment, you needed something. So they sent you to get some pancakes. So
I needed money for gas too though.
Exactly. That way you're covered. So yeah.
That's wild. And that goes back to listening to your body. So everybody gets it different. Everybody gets theirs different. I think I was trying to listen out for somebody calling my name or somebody touching me. And I knew that wasn't gonna, now I know why that wasn't gonna work because I was ready to fight. I was like, maybe somebody's gonna call my name. But then I was like, if somebody called my name, it's on.
Yeah,
I was like, maybe somebody will touch me. I was like, somebody touched me, it's on. So it's different. So mine comes a lot in theta, a lot, like right before I'm waking up. So the one time right before I was waking up, and I was like, I saw this little vision, and I saw like this card, and it was beautiful, and it was animated, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. And then it was like a carousel, and then it said, whoosh, and I saw another one, and I was like, ooh, that is amazing. I was trying to look like, what is that? And it was like, whoosh. And then that one turned to a question mark because I said to myself, wait a minute, what is this? Where am I? I just woke up, but I'm not woke. What am I seeing? And then poof, I was out of it. But I got up and I started drawing it and writing it. So basically, I was dreaming up tarot cards.
Right.
Who knows how to draw tarot cards? Who knows how to write tarot cards? I never had even realized I was going to be doing them in the first place, but that's what it was. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And then another time in theta, I had one of my crystals, one of my quartz on my head. And I was just kind of meditating and I was kind of falling asleep. And then I don't know if I fell asleep and kind of was waking up. And then all of a sudden, it's almost like my eyes went, even though my eyes were closed, it was like I looked And all of a sudden I saw like different pyramids and different lands. And they always are like, swoosh, here's another scenery with different stuff. And I was like, wow, that's all amazing. And then it always stops because I'm like, wait a minute, where am I? I just woke up, but I'm not asleep. And that kicks me out of it. So it comes for us in different ways, you know, like, oh, I guess I am supposed to be doing this. Or, oh, I guess that what I was questioning about, that is right.
Well, it's all in the process. From the awakening to the sleep to the meditation, everything is a process. It all just lines up. And
Right.
eventually when it hits, you'll know, and then you'll start learning who you are. You'll start learning your gifts. You start learning what you need to do. They'll tell you where you need to go. It's crazy when you start making that connection. And sometimes it can be frustrating. A lot of times I'm like, I get a meditation, and they're like, right what? You ain't tell me nothing. I'm not, you told me to write, what am I writing? What am I doing? Write what? It's so frustrating at times. You'd be ready to bust them out, believe me. But when you get there, you'll know, and you'll know, and it start really helping you. It'll be times where you're just sitting there and you're just like, and they'll tell you, do this, do that. Now wait. Okay, I'm waiting. What am I waiting for? I'm about to get some money. What we doing?
Right. And it's true because like earlier today, when I was in my room, I don't know, I have these moments of, oh, I'm so tired of this. I don't feel like doing this. This is stupid. You know, I go through those moments. And then I started listening to some little podcast, and the person said, sometimes daily you go through moments of, I don't feel like doing this.
Right.
This is the best thing. I don't feel like, and he was like, that's just a part of what we're going through as we're awakening. I was like, oh, that was interesting. And I was like, well, whatever, I'm just gonna lay down because my computers are stupid and I'm trying to do this thing and it's not working, and I'm just gonna lay down, I'm tired. And then some said, well, just go outside and lay in the sun for a little bit. And I was like, I'm hot, I don't feel like doing that. And it was like, well, you should go out there anyway. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm just gonna go outside then and lay down. So I go out there and I sit down, and then some neighbors come down and they sit down right next to me. And they're like, hi, how you doing? Start talking. Next thing you know, I done gave them some food from the refrigerator, and we didn't talk. And they was like, you can come over anytime. And, you know, we drink wine too, and we love your place. And it was just so inviting. And they started talking about things that I went through too. The lady went through breast cancer just like I did. She was like, oh, my teeth are missing. I was like, oh, mine too. And she was just talking about chemo already and how she felt. She was like, I lost all my hair in his back. I was like, oh, me too. I mean, just a connection like that. And she lives right there. So I'm like, oh, see, if I had to just stay in the house, like, forget it. I would have missed that. Now I got a buddy that I can talk to when I feel like, oh, this is stupid.
Connection, that's all it is. It's just making that connection, and it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. Like Fee said, the breathing, you know, that's just one of the many distractions that you have. Just breathe in your nose and out your mouth.
Look at it's a stroll, not a marathon.
Right, there you go. Because at the end of the day, it's a journey. A lot of times, like I said, it's that human thing in us where we are so impatient because we were taught to be impatient. And the more and more that they're throwing technology at us, we're more impatient. It's like everything has to happen right then and there. So when it doesn't, we immediately just, oh, this ain't working. This ain't it. This devil's work. I don't even know why I'm up at this hour. This is craziness. And we completely give it up instead of listening to who we are so we can retrain and reconnect with ourselves. Because at the end of the day, nobody knows us better than ourselves. That's how I look at it. Ourselves is the only thing that's going to save us during the times in chaos. That's when you learn yourself the best, not in stillness, not in quiet, in absolute chaos.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I do my own readings, because I know I'm very honest with myself, because I could lie to somebody real good if I wanted to, and they're not going to know me if I don't want them to know me. So it's a waste of time for me to try to, you know, to do that. So that's why I do my own, because I can't lie to myself about myself. Even if I try, I just start laughing like, you already know, dog. You know you're not gonna get up and do that. So don't even lie, you know, and I can really, you know, do that.
It's like yourself checking yourself.
Oh yeah. It's like, come on now. And then before I do anything, I always take 3 deep breaths. And like, if somebody else wants me to do a reading for them, I always say, get your mind in a meditative state, take you 3 deep breaths and sit up and think about what it is you want to say, what you want to do, what it is, and then tell me about it. And then you tell me about it, and then I'll do cards and give you encouragement about it.
Right.
Don't ask me about your boyfriend and your future and all that. No, tell me what's going on right now, what your goal is, what your plan is, what you want to do, what's going on. And you tell me that. Then when I do the cards, I'll see it as a way to give you some advice and some encouragement, like spiritual therapy. And I think that's what your higher self wants you to know and flow with, so you can grow, not a whole lot of hoodoo mystic stuff to get you to go doing some crazy stuff, to take shortcuts, when you really have to go through the awakening, the meditation, getting your rhythm together. And then
it's all part of the process. Like Fee said, this ain't no this a marathon. We on a journey, baby. That's how it works. We ain't through this, so
it will not happen overnight. It is not it's not going to happen overnight. You know, we're going to learn every day.
Definitely.
So
I can agree to that. Yeah.
Well, yay. That was nice. I'm glad we got to talk. I feel like encouraged, like big time.
Well, that was the whole point. You got to be encouraged. This is, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like this is our way of supporting each other, but not only just ourselves, but anybody that would be watching, you know, to get a little bit of information, something, because questions are going to come. Everybody's in a different stage of their awakening process. Some are at the beginning, some are at the middle, some are at the end. And it's crazy because sometimes you're at the end of that awakening and then it slap you right back to the beginning because you didn't got to the end and you're like, this is too much. What am I doing? You pull your own self out of that awakening process where you don't even want to do it no more. Some people really fall off of their journey and they're just like, nah, I got to take a break. And it happens. But once you are awakening, you cannot, it's always going to pull you back in. No matter how many times you try to run from it, it's going to pull you back in. So,
and you almost have to like anticipate that to know it, because this is, I had that issue, and the issue came because I had all these questions about life, you know, from religion and from whatever, all these things I wanted to know. Once I got into spirituality, I got all the answers. I understand what happens when you die. I understand what happens, you know, on the other side. I understand it. I understood like everything, who God really is, what Jesus really means. Like I understood all. It was like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to get those answers on my deathbed that last 5 minutes. You know, right before you die, I was going to be like, oh, I get it. And then boop. And I used to be like, that's so messed up that I have to wait that long. But no, I got it now. So then once I got all the answers, and I was like, okay, let me start living according to that. Then it opened up a whole new set of questions.
Right, because who really wants to come back?
And then I was like,
do this all over again.
Now I'm gonna get the answers to these questions. And then I was getting more answers. And then I was like, you know what? I'm getting tired of this. And then I'm like, I don't want to think about it. But then as soon as I'm like, but. And then, so I think you have to anticipate the cycle of awakening, growing awakening. You know, it takes you up and up and up. That's kind of what I think.
Part of it is up and down. That's what I like about it. There's no limitations to it. There's no restrictions. There's no judgment to it unless you come in the beginning judging because you really don't understand. With it, I think the whole thing is a flexibility. You know, there's no, oh, I gotta live by this. I gotta do this. This is my restrictions.
That's religion.
Yeah.
Well, you know, organized religion, you know.
Yeah, organized religion, because you can still be spiritual and be religious.
Right.
So, you know.
Right. Yeah. And look, that's something I had to learn too, you know. Right. And a lot, you know, and it's based on our English language. It's based on the way we understand things. Everything is so mumbo jumboed up. And I just tell myself that it's two of everything.
Right.
It's two of everything. There's a good religion, there's a bad religion. There's a good God, there's a bad God. There's a good, you know, there's two of everything. You know, there's a this kind of Jesus, there's a that kind, you know. So you kind of have to go into it thinking that way to be able to keep your mind open, to be able to grow, to be able to get a question answered. And you can't be afraid of getting the answer and then that answer changing. But it's changing because you're growing more, you're understanding more, not just because it was wrong, but because, oh, is that what that means? I thought it just meant that, you know. That's where meditation comes in.
Right, definitely. So
So, okay, well, I'm glad we got to
Yeah.
talk. I will
Yeah.
definitely, because if other people hadn't done videos like this, I wouldn't be where I am. Like you said, the real Merkaba, I watched him, I watched the real Nagas, I watched Bobby Hemmett, I watched I mean, you name it, just so many. I started off watching Stephen Darby. I don't know if y'all know him, but coming from a Jehovah's Witness, they're not the same kind of Christian as everybody else. So when I got out of that, I had to learn Christian. I told y'all that. So then when I went to Christian, he was one of the persons. Now, plus I was learning about everything else, CERN and whatever. So when I found him, he was talking about CERN. He was talking about, you know, all this future stuff, but he was also talking about the Bible and what stuff started in Babylon. And so I was like, yeah. And so that kind of helped me with my connection. And then as I got to go more and more, all these people that made these videos, it's like, whoa. Yeah. So that's kind of what this is. We do the same thing, you know, for where we are right now. And somebody who's searching, Spirit will lead them and be like, you need to hear this.
Yeah, they're gonna
have some rhythm, meditation, awakening. I was just thinking about that. And
it all, for me, I feel like it always falls in line. I never know what I'm going to talk about. I just meditate on it because it's a lot. And it's not a lot as in intimidating. It's just a lot that you need to learn. Like we said, you know, there's breathing techniques that you need to learn how to do. It's learning how to protect yourself during meditation, because a lot of people don't know that you're supposed to protect yourself. You ain't supposed to be just randomly doing it. You're supposed to be protecting yourself, because between those hours, yeah, it's safe because you're in your house. But you don't know what kind of energy floating around there waiting on you because you out here just trying to meditate.
So when I'm out there down at the beach, you know, at the water, it's just full. Wait, and it's a graveyard back there that's like 2 blocks long.
Yeah. They come in there with a whole straw and
So wait a minute. So I was the type of person that I was like, I'm never moving by the water. I'm never this. I had this whole list of never stuff, right? And then next, you know, I'm living down here by the water. And my son was like, what happened to you? I said,
exactly.
I was spirit led. And I guess my cancer crab shell ass need to be down here, you know, doing something. And I mean, I'm not even afraid or scared or nothing like that. You know, now that I understand what's going on, I cry sometimes when I drive past the graveyard, because I'd be like, it's a lot of ancestors there who people don't even know that they still are about, you know, and I feel bad about it. And it's like, it's so much just going on that we didn't know. And, you know, I'm like, do they think that we don't, that we're ignoring them, that we don't love them? I mean, you know, so I have a different perspective,
right? Definitely.
So it's not scary at all. It's like, I love them and I'm sorry, and do you need something, and what can I even do? And it's a whole different perspective.
Right. Definitely, I can agree to that.
Down again.
Yeah,
we still can do this, and we still
can. It's a 5-year. Just get ready.
That's chaos. Right.
That's it. That's
we work around that. What you say, P?
I said, all right, ladies, we're gonna keep working it out.
That's right.
Whatever they try to throw at us, we already know what to expect.
You're gonna be my fighting self. Where at?
Look, it's encoded in their DNA, so I ain't worried about too much of nothing.
And you know what? That's how you gotta be. Everybody was like, so did you like get affected by the stuff in Texas? I was like, no. But what I was thinking is, I didn't even know that stuff was going on.
Right.
I was in the house on all kind of stuff in here. I got like 50 crystals in here.
I was not in it like a lot of people.
I wasn't even like, I was like, I didn't even realize how much it was, because that's just how much I be in my own
world.
Well, I don't really pay attention to what's going on out there. I'd rather not, even though, you know, we was affected by the weather, but not as bad as most people with pipes bursting and all that, and I'm grateful for that. But at the same time, it's just letting us know, get your survival game up.
Yeah,
that's what it's letting us know.
Exactly, Fee. That's exactly what they're telling us, because we're just in the beginning. We're not even.
Because you never know.
Exactly. We're right in spring. We ain't even got to summer yet. We ain't even finished the year.
New year just started. The new year just started.
Well, baby, when that sun come through here for the summer, all I can say is they thought last summer was hot.
Oh, it ain't. This is
roasty toasty.
It's gonna be extra.
Baby, it is about to be. Look, it's about to be turned up. The volume of the heat is
When they say it's about to be lit.
Mhm.
About to be
Liddy.
turned up. And I can feel it now when I'm out sun gazing. So I already know, baby,
Right.
baby, we gonna have us some true tans this summer.
Yes.
I can't wait. Oh, well, I already got one kind of now, but I
Oh,
can't wait.
no. Hold on. I do too. But I'm saying it's gonna be the real tan.
Oh no, it's
Global warming.
It's definitely gonna be warm. So
Yeah. All right. Well, peace, y'all. Love y'all, and I will
Peace,
talk
peace.
soon. I will talk to y'all a little bit later. And
Peace, peace.
yeah,
Y'all have a
get
good
it
evening.
going. Okay. Cheers.